The sentence that told you you were not enough was learned, and tonight it begins to lose its authority. It may have been with you so long that it no longer sounds like a sentence. It may sound like caution. It may sound like being realistic. It may sound like knowing better than to ask for too much. It may sound like being easy to please, easy to reach, easy to forgive, easy to keep waiting. It may even sound like maturity when you tell yourself you should understand why someone gives little, disappears, returns, hesitates, withholds, or keeps you uncertain. An old lesson can become very clever when it has been repeated for years. It learns your voice. It borrows your logic. It speaks through the choices you make without asking whether those choices still belong to you. Tonight, you are not fighting that old lesson. You are not scolding yourself for believing it. You are not turning your past into evidence against you. You are looking at it with the calm eyes of someone who is finally ready to separate what was taught from what is true. There is a difference. What was taught can be changed. What was learned can be questioned. What was repeated can be retired. You did not arrive in this life believing you had to earn tenderness by overgiving. You did not begin by believing silence meant you had failed. You did not come here assuming that care had to be chased, negotiated, decoded, or purchased with pieces of yourself. Those ideas came later. Some came through what people said. Some came through what they did not say. Some came through how affection was given and taken away. Some came through rooms where your feelings seemed inconvenient. Some came through experiences in which being good meant being undemanding. Some came through relationships where you learned to study another person's mood before speaking your one truth. Some came through the slow training of trying to become easier for others to choose. And if you repeated that training long enough, it may have started to feel like your nature. It is not your nature. It is familiarity. There is a great difference between the two. Familiarity says, "This is what I know." Truth says, "This is who I am." For a long time, you may have confused the two. You may have believed that because something kept happening, it revealed what you deserved. A delayed reply became a verdict. A vague promise became something to cling to. A person's uncertainty became a problem for you to solve. A cold stretch made you search your own behavior for mistakes. A small withdrawal made you become more attentive. A little distance made you work harder. A little confusion made you explain more. You may have thought that if you found exactly the right words, exactly the right patience, exactly the right amount of understanding, you could make uncertainty become security. You may have thought that if you asked for less, you would be easier to keep. You may have thought that if you stayed calm enough while your heart was unsettled, no one would accuse you of needing too much. There are people who learned very early that wanting reassurance was dangerous. There are people who learned that expressing disappointment could lead to rejection. There are people who learned that the safest way to remain connected was to become useful, helpful, patient, available, forgiving before an apology arrived, understanding before an explanation was offered, ready before anyone had shown readiness in return. If any of this feels familiar, you do not need to turn it into another reason to judge yourself. Your mind was trying to preserve connection with the tools it had. Your heart was trying to keep hope alive. Your habits were built around the belief that connection might disappear unless you worked hard to hold it. That belief deserves compassion. It does not deserve permanent control. You can understand why you learned something and still choose not to continue it. You can honor the part of you that survived by adapting, while also telling that part, very quietly, that its old job is ending. You do not have to abandon yourself to stay connected now. You do not have to prove that you are easy to keep. You do not have to be endlessly available to be considered kind. You do not have to make yourself smaller so another person never has to stretch. You do not have to hide your needs so someone else can remain comfortable. You do not have to call inconsistency complicated when it is exhausting you. You do not have to call waiting patience when waiting has become the whole relationship. You do not have to call longing loyalty. You do not have to call confusion chemistry. You do not have to call crumbs a feast because you were hungry when they arrived. There is no bitterness required in seeing clearly. Clarity does not need revenge. Clarity does not need anyone to be a villain. Sometimes two people simply meet with different capacities, different intentions, different levels of readiness. Sometimes someone cannot meet you where you hoped they would. Sometimes you cannot make that capacity appear by giving more. That truth can ache without becoming cruel. You can care about someone and still admit that the way you are being met does not nourish you. You can remember beautiful moments without using them to excuse a painful pattern. You can understand someone's wounds without volunteering to live inside the consequences of them. You can wish another person well without waiting indefinitely for them to become ready. This is where an old belief often becomes visible. It whispers that if you stop trying, everything will fall apart. It tells you that your effort is the thing holding the connection together. It tells you that one more explanation may change everything. One more message, one more chance, one more sacrifice, one more round of patience, one more attempt to show how understanding you can be. There is a particular tiredness that comes from always being the one who reaches across the distance. It is not only physical tiredness, it is the tiredness of measuring each word before you send it, the tiredness of checking whether your needs sound acceptable, the tiredness of wondering if honesty will push someone away, the tiredness of trying to sound casual when you are hurting, the tiredness of pretending you do not care about something that matters deeply to you, the tiredness of reading tone into short replies, the tiredness of waiting for warmth to return, the tiredness of telling yourself that the good moments should be enough to carry you through all the uncertain ones. You may know what it is to look at a message you have written and delete half of it because you do not want to seem demanding. You may know what it is to wait before replying because you are afraid your quick answer will reveal how much you care. You may know what it is to rewrite a simple question until it barely contains the truth. You may know what it is to say, "It's fine," when your whole body knows it is not fine. You may know what it is to accept plans that are made at the last moment because you are afraid saying no will mean there will be no next time. You may know what it is to keep your schedule open for someone who has not made a clear place for you in theirs. You may know what it is to hear yourself defending behavior that, if it were happening to someone you cared about, you would recognize immediately as painful. You may know what it is to keep offering understanding because understanding feels safer than asking for change. This is not foolishness. It is a pattern. Patterns can feel intensely personal while still being learned. That matters because what can be learned can also be unlearned without destroying the tenderness in you. You do not need to become cold to become clear. You do not need to become suspicious to become discerning. You do not need to stop caring. You need to stop disappearing from your own side of the relationship. There have been moments when you knew what you needed and talked yourself out of needing it. Moments when you felt hurt and immediately began explaining why the other person probably did not mean it. Moments when your own disappointment barely had time to speak before your empathy rushed in to defend everyone else. Your empathy is beautiful. It was never meant to erase you. Understanding another person should not require abandoning your own experience. Compassion does not ask you to lie about what hurts. Patience does not ask you to remain somewhere indefinitely. Kindness does not require silence. Loyalty does not require self-betrayal. A healthy bond does not depend on one person carrying all the emotional weight. You may have spent years becoming excellent at sensing what other people need. You can learn to become equally attentive to what is happening inside you, not dramatically, not selfishly, clearly. You can hear the difference between fear and truth. Fear says, if I speak honestly, I may lose them. Truth asks, what am I losing by never speaking honestly? Fear says, if I stop initiating, they may disappear. Truth asks, if the connection disappears the moment I stop carrying it, what was I carrying? Fear says, I should be more patient. Truth asks whether patience has become another name for postponing your own life. Fear says, I should ask for less. Truth reminds you that shrinking a need does not make the need disappear. This is where a different relationship with yourself begins, not with force, not with a dramatic declaration, with accuracy. You begin naming things more accurately. Mixed signals are mixed signals. Uncertainty is uncertainty. A promise without follow-through is incomplete. Interest without care may not be enough for the kind of connection you want. Intensity is not always intimacy. Attention is not always commitment. Chemistry does not automatically create safety. Missing someone does not automatically mean returning is wise. A long history does not automatically mean a shared future. Wanting it badly does not automatically make it right for you. These are not punishments. They are forms of clarity. Clarity gives your heart a chance to rest. You do not need to spend every evening interpreting what someone might mean. You do not need to become an expert in another person's contradictions. You do not need to search for hidden certainty inside inconsistent behavior. You are permitted to take what is happening seriously. You are permitted to believe patterns. You are permitted to care about how you feel after an interaction, not only how you feel during the most exciting part of it. You are permitted to ask whether a connection brings steadiness into your life or repeatedly pulls you away from yourself. For someone who has lived with the old not enough lesson, this can feel unfamiliar. You may be used to evaluating yourself before evaluating the situation. What did I do wrong? Was I too much? Was I too quiet? Was I too available? Was I not interesting enough? Should I have waited longer? Should I have said less? Should I have looked better? Should I have been calmer? Should I have been more exciting? Should I have been easier? That constant self-review can become exhausting because it assumes one thing before the investigation even begins. It assumes the problem must be you. Tonight, that assumption is no longer automatically accepted. A connection can be disappointing without you being defective. Someone can be unavailable without you being unlovable. Someone can choose another direction without that choice becoming a measurement of your value. Someone can fail to understand you without proving you are difficult to understand. Someone can miss what you bring without reducing what you bring. Someone can be uncertain without requiring you to become more convincing. That last part matters deeply. You do not need to become more convincing. You do not need to turn yourself into a presentation. You do not need to perform calmness, beauty, independence, success, patience, mystery, usefulness, or constant positivity in order to make yourself easier to choose. There is nothing wrong with growing. There is nothing wrong with becoming more grounded, more honest, more capable, more caring. Growth becomes painful when it is secretly being used as an audition. When every improvement carries the hidden hope that someone will finally see what they missed. When every change is made with one eye on another person's reaction. When your healing becomes another way of asking, "Am I acceptable now?" Your life can become yours again. Your growth can belong to you. Your peace can belong to you. Your choices can belong to you. Your future does not have to be organized around proving anything to anyone. This is one of the quietest repairs you can make. You stop treating yourself as a candidate for your own life. You stop waiting to be approved before taking up space in it. You stop living as though another person's attention is a certificate of value. You stop turning their distance into a courtroom where you are always the defendant. You begin to stand beside yourself instead, not against them, beside yourself. This distinction changes everything. You are not preparing to win a battle. You are ending the habit of leaving your own side. There is a softness that becomes possible when you no longer have to argue for your humanity. Your needs do not become commands. Your preferences do not become demands. Your boundaries do not become punishments. They become information. This works for me. This does not. This feels mutual. This does not. This is clear. This is confusing. This supports the person I am becoming. This asks me to return to a version of myself I have outgrown. The more honestly you can name those things, the less dramatic your decisions need to become. You do not have to wait until you are furious to say something is not right for you. You do not have to wait for a final betrayal before you listen to repeated discomfort. You do not have to collect evidence until your pain could convince a jury. Your own inner knowing is allowed to participate. You can gather facts. You can remain fair. You can stay compassionate. You can also include yourself in the circle of people whose feelings matter. This is where the old lesson may protest. It may tell you that taking yourself seriously will make you selfish. It may tell you that stronger boundaries will leave you alone. It may tell you that asking for mutual effort is too much. It may tell you that calm self-respect will frighten people away. Some people may step back when you stop doing all the emotional labor. Some connections may change when you stop making yourself endlessly convenient. That does not automatically mean you made a mistake. Sometimes a pattern survives because everyone involved has learned to depend on you keeping it alive. When you change your part, the pattern has to reveal itself. This is not punishment. It is information. The person who appreciates you only when you are overextending is responding to your overextension, not necessarily to your whole self. The person who becomes interested only when you are leaving may be responding to distance, not building genuine steadiness. The person who wants closeness but resists responsibility may have real feelings and still be unable to create the kind of connection you need. You do not need to solve those contradictions tonight. You only need to stop turning them into proof against yourself. That is the repair. The old sentence loses power every time you refuse to use someone else's capacity as a measurement of your value. It loses power when you stop calling your needs a burden. It loses power when you stop begging your own intuition to be quiet. It loses power when you recognize that wanting consistency is not weakness. It loses power when you stop apologizing for wanting words and actions to make sense together. It loses power when you stop confusing your tenderness with an obligation to tolerate what repeatedly hurts. There is another part of chasing that is rarely spoken about. Sometimes you are not pursuing the person. You are pursuing relief. You want the reply because you want the knot inside you to loosen. You want reassurance because uncertainty feels unbearable. You want one more conversation because you believe the right explanation will finally settle your nervous system. You want clarity from the same place that has been creating confusion. And when relief arrives for a moment, the cycle can feel rewarding. A message comes, warmth returns, attention increases. You feel yourself breathe again, then distance appears. The old fear rises. You reach. Relief returns. The mind can begin to mistake this cycle for depth because the emotional contrast is so strong. High relief after high distress can feel powerful. Powerful is not the same as secure. Your inner world deserves more than brief relief between periods of uncertainty. It deserves relationships and choices that do not require constant emotional recovery. It deserves room to settle. It deserves the dignity of not being repeatedly pulled into doubt and then asked to call the relief romance. You can learn another rhythm. A rhythm where interest does not have to be earned each week. A rhythm where care is not used as bait. A rhythm where asking a simple question does not feel dangerous. A rhythm where your body is not constantly preparing for distance. A rhythm where you can say what you mean. A rhythm where another person is free and you are free too. Freedom does not mean indifference. It means nobody has to disappear inside the connection. You remain yourself. You keep your friendships. You keep your sleep. You keep your voice. You keep your plans. You keep your center. You do not abandon your whole day because someone has not replied. You do not put your future on hold for an undefined possibility. You do not become smaller between moments of attention. You begin remembering that your life continues whether someone is certain about you or not. There is something deeply stabilizing in that remembrance. Your life is not a waiting room. Your heart is not an application under review. Your dignity is not suspended until somebody makes a decision. You are already here. You already belong to yourself. You are already participating in a life that can become more honest from this night forward. You may still miss people. You may still feel old impulses. You may still want to reach for reassurance. Change does not require pretending those impulses vanish instantly. It asks you to create a little space between the impulse and the action. In that space, you can ask a different kind of question. Not, how do I get them to respond? What do I need right now? Not, how do I become more desirable? What would help me feel anchored in myself? Not, how do I stop them from leaving? What truth have I been afraid to admit because leaving felt unbearable? These questions do not control another person. They return influence to the place where you actually have it. Your own choices, your own pace, your own honesty, your own boundaries, your own attention. This is not about winning. It is about no longer losing yourself. You have spent enough time trying to decode what another person's behavior says about you. Tonight, you can begin learning what your own behavior says to you. Every time you speak truthfully, you teach yourself that your voice matters. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you teach yourself that your trust belongs somewhere safe. Every time you step away from repeated confusion, you teach yourself that peace is not a luxury. Every time you refuse to bargain away a core need, you teach yourself that closeness does not require self-erasure. Every time you stop over-explaining a reasonable boundary, you teach yourself that your no can stand without a courtroom argument. Every time you let someone show you who they are without rushing to edit the evidence, you become steadier. This steadiness is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not need to prove that it has changed. It shows itself in smaller moments. You do not send the extra paragraph. You do not cancel your plans. You do not pretend. You do not chase an answer that has already been expressed through a pattern. You do not bargain with your own discomfort. You let reality be real. There is enormous dignity in letting reality be real, not darker than it is, not brighter than it is, real. You can appreciate what was beautiful. You can acknowledge what was painful. You can hold both. Maturity does not require rewriting the past as entirely good or entirely bad. A person may have cared about you and still been unable to meet you well. You may have cared deeply and still have overextended yourself. There may have been real tenderness and real confusion. You do not have to erase either one. You only have to stop using tenderness as a reason to keep accepting confusion. There is a point at which understanding the past becomes useful only if it helps you choose differently. You are approaching that point now. The old not enough lesson once made you believe that every loss needed an explanation that protected everyone except you. Now you can be fair without abandoning yourself. You can say, I see why this happened. You can also say, I do not want to live this way anymore. Both can be true. You can forgive without reopening a door. You can care without returning to an old role. You can understand without volunteering for more pain. You can wish someone healing while choosing distance. You can remember them without making the memory a command. You can feel tenderness without turning tenderness into a contract. These are quiet forms of freedom. And tonight, freedom begins very close to home. It begins with the way you speak to yourself after disappointment. It begins with refusing to make rejection mean defectiveness. It begins with refusing to make uncertainty mean you need to perform harder. It begins with the simple recognition that another person's hesitation belongs first to their own inner world. You do not have to carry it for them. You do not have to convert it into a project. You do not have to become the answer to questions they have not chosen to face. You are not here to persuade anyone into readiness. You are here to become increasingly honest about your own. Your readiness to be treated with care. Your readiness to stop translating inconsistency into potential. Your readiness to stop working for crumbs of reassurance. Your readiness to stay present with yourself when an old fear says, "Do something now, or you will be forgotten." You can answer that fear differently. I will not forget myself. That is enough for tonight. Not the old meaning of enough, not the measurement, not the verdict, a different kind, a resting place, a beginning. You are learning that the first relationship changed by your new choices is the relationship you have with yourself. From there, everything else becomes easier to see. You become less willing to bargain with what drains you, less willing to make excuses for chronic uncertainty, less willing to overfunction for connection, less willing to call anxiety intuition when fear has been running the conversation, more willing to watch, more willing to listen, more willing to let actions speak, more willing to believe that what is truly mutual does not require you to carry both sides. The old sentence has not disappeared in one night. It does not need to. It only needs to stop being the unquestioned ruler of your decisions. Tonight, it has been questioned. Tonight, its history has been seen. Tonight, you have begun separating the person you became to preserve connection from the person you are becoming through self-respect. There is no need to rush the rest. Something important has already changed. You can hear the old lesson without obeying it. You can feel fear without handing it the wheel. You can miss someone without abandoning yourself. You can want closeness without begging for certainty. You can be tender without becoming available for anything. You can be open without becoming unprotected. You can care and still choose clearly. You can hope and still remain grounded. You can remember who you are before somebody else answers. And as this night deepens, that remembrance can become quieter, steadier, more natural. You do not need to force it. You only need to keep returning to what is true. You are not an argument waiting to be won. You are not a question waiting for somebody else to answer. You are not a burden because you have needs. You are not difficult because you want consistency. You are not demanding because clarity matters to you. You are not less because someone could not meet you. You are learning to stop reading another person's limits as a description of yourself. That repair has already begun. There is a reason constant pursuit can leave you feeling farther from the very closeness you want. When you are afraid of losing connection, the natural impulse is to move toward it harder. You explain more, you check more, you offer more, you try to solve the silence before the silence has even spoken. You try to make yourself unmistakable. You try to remove every possible reason someone might step away. From the inside, this can feel like devotion. From the outside, it can sometimes carry pressure. Not because caring is wrong, not because showing interest is wrong, not because you should become distant or perform indifference. The problem begins when your actions are no longer coming from choice. They are coming from fear. Fear has a particular rhythm. It rushes. It predicts. It fills empty space with conclusions. It asks for certainty before reality has had time to show itself. It tries to secure tomorrow with what you do tonight. And when another person senses that your peace depends on their answer, they may feel a weight you never meant to place on them. That does not make you bad. It means fear has entered the connection. Fear can make a simple message carry an invisible request. Please reassure me. Please choose me. Please prove I have not misread this. Please tell me I am safe. Please remove this ache. The words may look ordinary. The feeling beneath them may be much larger. This is one reason calm self-respect changes relationships so deeply. It removes the hidden emergency. You can still care. You can still initiate. You can still express affection. You can still say what you want. The difference is that your whole sense of self is no longer hanging from the answer. You speak because you mean it. You ask because clarity matters. You offer because generosity is part of who you are. Then you watch what comes back. You do not have to keep pushing after reality has answered. That is a powerful change. Many people were taught to believe that getting what they want requires more effort. This can be true in work. It can be true in study. It can be true in learning a skill. You practice. You persist. You improve. But human connection is different. You cannot practice another person into readiness. You cannot work hard enough to manufacture mutual desire. You cannot perfect yourself into someone else's emotional capacity. You cannot persuade a person into consistency if they do not choose it. You cannot build two sides of a bridge from one bank. That is where many tender people become exhausted. They bring the logic of achievement into places where mutuality is required. They think, if I do more, the result will come. If I am patient enough, the result will come. If I heal enough, improve enough, look better, communicate better, become calmer, become more impressive, become less needy, become more desirable, then the result will come. But connection is not a prize awarded for flawless performance. Another human being remains free. Their history matters. Their capacity matters. Their values matter. Their timing matters. Their choices matter. Your task is not to override those things. Your task is to see them clearly. This can feel frightening when you have been used to controlling uncertainty through effort. Effort gives the mind something to do. Waiting without overfunctioning can feel exposed. You send one honest message and leave it there. You express one need and let the response reveal something. You state what matters and resist the urge to soften it until it means nothing. You let someone take responsibility for their side. You stop rescuing every awkward moment. You stop filling every silence. You stop translating every vague answer into something more hopeful. At first, this can feel as though you are doing less. You are not doing less. You are leaving room for truth. Truth needs room. You cannot see what another person will choose if you are constantly choosing for both of you. You cannot know whether they will initiate if you always initiate before they have the chance. You cannot know whether they will repair if you rush to repair everything yourself. You cannot know whether they will make space for your needs if you hide those needs to keep the peace. You cannot know what is mutual when your effort is doing most of the work. This is why stepping back from over-pursuit is not a game. It is not a strategy to make someone miss you. It is not a trick. It is not silence used as punishment. It is not pretending you do not care so another person becomes curious. Those are still forms of control. They are still organized around getting a reaction. The deeper shift is different. You are no longer arranging yourself around another person's response. You are returning to honesty. You are saying through your choices, I will participate, but I will not perform the entire relationship. I will communicate, but I will not plead for basic clarity. I will care, but I will not use care as an excuse to ignore what keeps hurting. We'll stay open, but I will not call self-abandonment openness. That posture has steadiness in it. People feel steadiness. They feel when you are speaking from conviction rather than panic. They feel when your yes is real because your no is available too. They feel when kindness is freely given rather than offered as payment for acceptance. They feel when you are listening instead of constantly monitoring. They feel when your life has substance beyond the relationship. This is not about becoming harder to get. It is about becoming harder to lose to yourself. There is a great difference. Games make connection less safe. Integrity makes it more honest. You do not need tricks. You need congruence. Your words and your actions beginning to agree. If you say you value consistency, you stop repeatedly volunteering for chaos. If you say you want honesty, you stop rewarding vagueness with endless access. If you say you want mutual effort, you let the other person contribute instead of doing everything before they can. If you say your time matters, you stop treating your schedule as disposable. If you say you want peace, you become more careful about what patterns you keep inviting into it. This is how you begin teaching life through your own behavior, not by commanding life, not by expecting every person to comply, by becoming clear about what you will participate in. People learn how to meet you partly through what you consistently accept. That is not a statement of blame. It is a statement of influence. You cannot control how anyone behaves. You can choose what gains repeated access to you. You can choose what you excuse. You can choose what you normalize. You can choose what you answer. You can choose what you revisit. You can choose how many times you abandon your own truth to preserve something that is already unstable. These choices become instruction, not instruction spoken at anyone. Instruction built into your life. When you remain where your voice is repeatedly dismissed, you may unintentionally communicate that dismissal has no consequence. When you continue giving after reciprocity has disappeared, you may unintentionally teach that your contribution is available without mutual care. When you constantly bend your plans while the other person never bends theirs, the arrangement learns that your time is the flexible part. When you repeatedly accept uncertainty that deeply unsettles you, uncertainty becomes part of the relationship's normal climate. Again, this is not because you caused another person's behavior. Their behavior belongs to them. Your participation belongs to you. That distinction matters because blame makes you smaller, while responsibility gives you choices. You are not responsible for making someone kind. You are responsible for deciding how much access unkindness receives. You are not responsible for making someone truthful. You are responsible for how you respond when dishonesty becomes clear. You are not responsible for making someone ready. You are responsible for whether you keep postponing your own life while they decide. You are not responsible for someone else's wounds. You are responsible for whether those wounds are being used repeatedly to wound you. This is not coldness. It is adult compassion. Compassion includes reality. It does not demand that you pretend harm is harmless. It does not require endless accommodation. It does not ask you to abandon your judgment. You can understand why someone behaves a certain way and still decide that the behavior is not something you can live close to. You can see their humanity and keep your boundaries. You can wish them well and stop volunteering to be the place where their unresolved patterns keep landing. You can care without surrendering discernment. For someone who once believed they had to earn closeness, this may feel almost radical. You may have believed that good people stay, good people forgive, good people keep trying, good people do not give up. But goodness without discernment can become self-erasure. Forgiveness without change can become permission for repetition. Patience without truth can become waiting without end. Trying without mutual effort can become exhaustion. You are not proving your goodness by remaining available to everything. A healthy heart can close a door. A kind person can say no. A compassionate person can leave. A tender person can decide that something costs too much internally. You do not lose your softness when you protect it. You preserve it. Without boundaries, tenderness can become resentment. You give until you are empty. You say yes until your yes becomes bitter. You keep understanding until you secretly want someone to finally understand you without being told. You keep carrying the connection until you become angry that no one sees how heavy it has become. This is why clearer limits can actually make affection cleaner. When you know you are free to say no, your yes becomes more honest. When you know you can leave what repeatedly harms you, staying becomes a choice rather than a trap. When you know you do not need to convince anyone, your affection loses some of its desperation. When you know another person is free to choose, you stop confusing persuasion with intimacy. Then there is more room for what is real. You might discover that someone steps closer. You might discover that they do not. Both are information. The purpose of self-respect is not to guarantee a preferred outcome. Its purpose is to keep you connected to yourself while life reveals what is true. This distinction protects you from turning personal growth into another bargaining tool. You do not become more grounded so a specific person will return. You do not become more confident so someone will finally see your value. You do not set limits as a way to trigger pursuit. You do these things because your inner life deserves a steadier home. If another person appreciates the change, that can be beautiful. If they resist it, that also tells you something. Your work remains yours. Your peace does not need to become a performance designed for an audience. This is especially important when you have spent years measuring progress through external attention. Someone texts you and you feel chosen. Someone withdraws and you feel diminished. Someone praises you and you expand. Someone criticizes you and you collapse. Someone wants you and you feel beautiful. Someone hesitates and you question everything. That is a painful way to live because your identity becomes rented property. Anyone with enough access can change the temperature inside you. The work now is to bring that thermostat home, not so you never care what anyone thinks. You are human. Connection matters. Feedback matters. Belonging matters. But another person's response becomes information instead of a verdict. Praise can feel good without becoming your foundation. Rejection can hurt without becoming your definition. Attention can be enjoyed without being mistaken for proof of value. Distance can be disappointing without being turned into a sentence about your future. This is emotional steadiness, not numbness, steadiness. You still feel, you still care, you still get disappointed, you still hope. You simply stop using every emotional event to rewrite your identity. This changes the way you enter relationships. You become less focused on being selected and more interested in what you are selecting. That question alone can rearrange years of old conditioning. Do I like how I feel around this person? Can I be honest here? Is there room for my needs? Do words and behavior tend to match? Can disagreement happen without punishment? Can I ask a question without fearing disappearance? Can both people repair after hurt? Do I feel free to remain myself? Is affection paired with respect? Does this connection support the life I'm trying to build? For years, you may have been asking, do they want me? Now another question becomes equally important. Do I want what this relationship actually is? Not what it could become. Not what it was during its brightest moments. Not what it might be after someone changes. What is it now? That question brings you back into the room. It gives you a seat at the table of your own decisions. You are no longer only being evaluated. You are evaluating. You are no longer waiting passively for someone else to decide what happens next. You are listening to your own experience. This can feel unfamiliar because the old not enough lesson trained you to focus upward. You looked at the other person as though they were holding the answer. You watched their face, their messages, their mood, their level of enthusiasm, their distance, their return. Your attention was constantly traveling outward, and when attention travels outward for too long, you lose contact with your own center. Now attention begins coming back. How does this feel? What am I ignoring? What have I been trying not to know? What part of me becomes smaller here? What part of me feels peaceful here? What am I saying yes to because I genuinely want it? What am I saying yes to because I am afraid of losing access? This is not overanalysis. It is recalibration. You are learning to include yourself. That may be one of the most important changes of your life. Because when you include yourself, you stop making decisions from hunger alone. Hunger says, take what is available. Self-respect asks whether what is available is nourishing. Hunger says, this may be the last chance. Self-respect remembers that urgency can distort judgment. Hunger says, do not ask for too much. Self-respect asks for what is real and listens carefully to the answer. Hunger says, keep the door open no matter what. Self-respect asks what keeps entering through that door. You can be compassionate toward the hunger. There is no need to mock it. It developed for a reason. If affection was inconsistent in your early life, uncertainty may feel strangely familiar later. If approval had to be earned, effort may feel like closeness. If emotional unpredictability was common, calm can initially feel boring. If you had to read the room to stay connected, hypervigilance may feel like love. These patterns are human. They are not destiny. Awareness begins changing what familiarity once chose automatically. You may start noticing that the most intense attraction is not always the safest attraction. You may discover that steadiness has a different flavor. It does not always arrive with dramatic highs. It can feel quieter, clearer. less consuming. You do not have to spend the entire day wondering where you stand. You do not have to interpret every shift. There is more space to be yourself. Some people who have known chaos mistake this spaciousness for lack of chemistry. That is why learning a new pattern takes patience. Your body may need time to recognize that calm is not emptiness. Consistency is not dullness. Respect is not distance. Mutuality is not lack of passion. A stable connection may not keep you in constant suspense. That can be a gift. A heart that has spent years on alert may need time to trust something that does not require vigilance. You may need time to trust your own judgment too. If you have ignored yourself repeatedly, your inner voice can feel faint at first. You hear it and question it. You sense discomfort and immediately argue with it. You feel a boundary and then look for reasons not to honor it. This changes through practice. Each time you listen to a clear internal signal and respond thoughtfully, self-trust grows. Each time you say what you mean and survive the outcome, self-trust grows. Each time you let someone misunderstand a reasonable limit instead of abandoning it to win approval, self-trust grows. Each time you make a decision that protects your peace rather than your image, self-trust grows. Each time you choose reality over fantasy, self-trust grows. This is not dramatic work. It happens in ordinary moments. You leave the phone where it is. You finish your meal. You keep your plans. You go to sleep. You do not invent an emergency where none has been stated. You do not send 6 explanations when one sentence is clear. You let an unanswered question remain unanswered long enough to become information. You let another adult manage their own feelings about your boundary. You stop doing emotional labor that was never yours. Your days begin to feel less hijacked. Your attention becomes less scattered. You have more room for work, friends, creativity, rest, your own thoughts, your own future, your own body, your own interests. This is not a strategy for becoming more attractive. It may change how you are perceived, but that is not the point. The point is that you begin to inhabit your own life more fully. There is something compelling about a person who is present in their own life, not because they are pretending not to need anyone, because they do not ask another person to become the entire reason they feel alive. They can care deeply and remain rooted. They can commit without disappearing. They can be generous without becoming an endless resource. They can be vulnerable without surrendering all discernment. They can say, "I want you," without meaning, "I cannot be okay without you." That is a different kind of closeness. It is cleaner, freer, more honest. It gives the other person room to choose too. This is important because authentic connection requires 2 freedoms. Your freedom to want, their freedom to answer, their freedom to want, your freedom to answer. Any connection that depends on one person feeling trapped, indebted, frightened, managed, or manipulated will eventually carry strain. This is why self-respect does not demand. It reveals. You say what is true. You listen to what is returned. You respond. You do not twist the answer. You do not punish someone for being honest. You do not punish yourself for hearing something you did not want to hear. This is emotional adulthood, and it protects tenderness far better than fantasy does. Fantasy can keep you attached to possibility long after reality has become clear. It can keep you waiting for the version of someone who appears only in your imagination. It can make one beautiful evening outweigh months of uncertainty. It can turn potential into a relationship that exists mostly in hope. Hope is not the enemy. Hope needs companionship from evidence. Ask what is present. Ask what is repeated. Ask what is demonstrated without being requested over and over. Those answers help you stay in truth. You are not required to become cynical. You are becoming discerning. Discernment says, I can see goodness and still see limitation. I can enjoy affection and still ask whether it is sustainable. I can care about intention and still care about impact. I can forgive a mistake and still pay attention to a pattern. I can believe people can change and still refuse to build my life around waiting for that change. You do not have to close your heart. You are learning how to keep it open without leaving every door unlocked. That is not fear. That is wisdom. There is a tenderness in realizing how long you may have tried to make yourself acceptable to people who were never in a position to give you the kind of steadiness you wanted. You may grieve that. Let the grief be clean. Do not turn it into humiliation. You were hoping. You were learning. You were trying to love with the understanding you had. There is no need to insult an earlier version of yourself for not having today's clarity. She did not have today's clarity. She had yesterday's tools. She carried what she knew. She made choices from the beliefs available to her. Now more is available. That is growth. Growth does not require hatred of the past. It requires new participation in the present. The present asks you to become less interested in earning and more interested in alignment, less interested in convincing and more interested in observing, less interested in being irresistible and more interested in being honest, less interested in keeping every connection and more interested in whether the connections you keep can hold truth. You may lose certain patterns. That can feel like losing people. Sometimes the two are connected. When you stop doing all the reaching, some relationships grow quieter. When you stop over-explaining, some people may claim you have changed. When you stop saying yes automatically, someone may be disappointed. When you stop accepting the bare minimum, certain arrangements may no longer work. You do not need to celebrate anyone's departure. You do not need to become superior. You can let change be sad. You can let it be complicated. You can still choose it. There are losses that make room inside you. There are endings that return you to yourself. There are disappointments that teach you what your own voice sounds like after years of being overridden. There are periods of quiet that are not punishment. They are recalibration. When familiar patterns stop filling every space, you may briefly wonder who you are without them. Who are you when you are not waiting for a reply? Who are you when you are not trying to be chosen? Who are you when you are not solving another person? Who are you when the day is no longer organized around uncertainty? You may be surprised by how much life returns. Small pleasures become visible again. Your mind has somewhere else to go. You think about what you want to learn, where you want to travel, how you want your home to feel, what kind of friendships you want to deepen, what your body has been asking for, what dreams became secondary while you were trying to secure someone else's attention. You begin to see that the real cost of over-pursuit was not only emotional exhaustion, it was attention, hours of it, days of it, seasons of it. Attention is part of your life. Where it goes, life goes. You do not need to guard it harshly. You can become intentional with it. Not every uncertainty deserves another hour of analysis. Not every silence deserves another theory. Not every mixed signal deserves a committee meeting in your mind. Some things can be observed and left alone. Some things can reveal themselves. Some answers arrive through repetition. Some absences are information. Some patterns become clear only when you stop interfering with them. This is where calm becomes powerful. Not because calm controls people, because calm helps you see. Panic narrows the world. Calm widens it. Panic asks, how do I fix this? Calm asks, what is actually happening? Panic asks, how do I make them stay? Calm asks, is staying here healthy for me? Panic asks, what should I say? Calm asks, what is already clear without another conversation? Panic asks, what if I lose them? Calm remembers that losing yourself has a cost too. You are learning to choose from that wider place. No theatrics, no games, no punishment, no fake indifference. Just a steadier relationship with reality. That steadiness becomes a kind of quiet instruction. You show others that your time has shape, your care has discernment. Your presence is offered, not begged for. Your boundaries are not threats. Your affection is not a contract that requires you to abandon yourself. You are still warm, still open, still capable of deep feeling. You are simply no longer using your tenderness against yourself. And when tenderness stops being used as proof that you should tolerate anything, it becomes something much more beautiful. It becomes free. Free to be given where it can be met. Free to be expressed without fear. Free to withdraw from what harms. Free to remain when care is mutual. Free to grow without being forced. You are not becoming less loving. You are becoming less frightened inside love. That is a profound difference. And as the old fear loses some of its urgency, another voice begins to become easier to hear. It does not shout. It does not beg. It does not promise that everyone will choose you. It says something more useful. You can choose yourself while remaining open to others. You can let people reveal themselves. You can stop forcing clarity. You can stop carrying both sides. You can trust what is consistent. You can question what repeatedly unsettles you. You can leave room for mutual effort. You can stop treating pursuit as proof of devotion. You can stop making your peace depend on somebody else's speed. You can become a person who meets life with an open heart and a grounded spine. That is the lesson taking shape now. Not how to become impossible to leave, how to become unwilling to leave yourself. There comes a point when understanding your old pattern is not enough. You also need to stop making yourself guilty for having had it. You did not wake one morning and decide to distrust your own value. You did not deliberately choose to become anxious around distance. You did not make a careful plan to overgive, overthink, or stay too long. These habits formed because some part of you believed they were useful. At one time, they may have helped you preserve closeness. They may have helped you avoid conflict. They may have helped you feel needed. They may have helped you stay connected to people whose affection felt uncertain. They may have helped you make sense of situations that were too confusing to understand clearly at the time. A child does not usually think, "This person is emotionally limited." A young heart thinks, "Perhaps I need to become easier, more helpful, more pleasant, less demanding, less complicated, less visible when something hurts." That conclusion can follow you for years without ever being formally spoken. You may not remember anyone saying that you had to earn care. You may only remember how differently the atmosphere felt when you were agreeable. You may remember how quickly warmth returned when you stopped asking questions. You may remember being praised for needing little. You may remember learning that other people's comfort mattered more than your truth. You may remember how much easier things became when you adapted. And adaptation can be intelligent. It can protect connection. It can reduce conflict. It can help you survive emotional environments you did not have the power to change. The difficulty comes later, when a skill created for one season quietly becomes a rule for every season. You keep adapting even when you no longer need to. You keep preparing for rejection before anyone has rejected you. You keep proving your usefulness before anyone has asked. You keep lowering expectations before someone has had the chance to meet them. You keep translating your desires into smaller language. You keep preparing yourself to accept less. Then one day you look back and wonder why you have been so tired. The answer is not that you are weak. The answer is that self-protection became continuous work. You were trying to stay connected while also trying not to be hurt. You were trying to remain hopeful while constantly preparing for disappointment. You were trying to care without showing how much you cared. You were trying to be honest without risking too much honesty. That divided way of living takes enormous effort. It makes even simple interactions feel loaded. A delayed answer feels larger than a delayed answer. A changed tone feels larger than a changed tone. A canceled plan feels connected to every earlier time you felt unimportant. A person asking for space may awaken years of fear that had nothing to do with that person. This is why healing old patterns requires kindness toward context. You cannot judge yesterday's reactions using only today's understanding. The person you were then knew what she knew. She had the support she had. She had the awareness she had. She made me a ning with the information available. If she tolerated something you would not tolerate now, that does not make her foolish. It means you have changed. If she waited too long, she was trying to protect something she hoped would become real. If she accepted mixed behavior, perhaps she had not yet learned to trust consistency more than intensity. If she kept explaining, perhaps she believed being fully understood would finally make her safe. If she gave too much, perhaps giving had become one of the ways she knew how to secure belonging. You can see all of this without romanticizing it. You can admit where it cost you. You can admit where you ignored yourself. You can admit where fear made choices you would make differently today. Honesty and compassion can exist together. You do not need punishment to become wiser. You do not need shame to become clearer. Shame says, "How could you have accepted that?" Compassion says, "Now I understand why I did." Shame says, "I wasted years." Compassion says, "Those years taught me what I can no longer pretend not to know." Shame says, "I should have been stronger." Compassion says, "I was surviving with the beliefs I had." Shame freezes you inside the old identity. Compassion gives you enough safety to change it. That matters because a person who is constantly condemning herself may continue seeking external approval to escape her own criticism. Then the same cycle returns in a different form. You reject yourself and hope someone else will rescue you from that rejection. You doubt yourself and hope another person's certainty will erase the doubt. You question your value and search for proof in attention. But outside proof never stays long enough. Even when someone chooses you, the old belief may still whisper, "What if they change their mind? What if they meet someone better? What if I disappoint them? What if I become too much? What if the affection fades?" This is how you discover that being selected cannot repair a belief that was built inside. A relationship can support healing. Care can help. Consistency can help. Being treated well can give your system new experiences. But no person can permanently perform the job of convincing you that you have the right to exist fully. That job comes home to you. Not in one dramatic moment, in 1,000 ordinary decisions. You tell the truth when it would be easier to perform. You rest when you are tired instead of trying to remain endlessly available. You keep your plans. You keep your word to yourself. You ask a question when clarity matters. You accept the answer you receive instead of rewriting it. You let your preferences exist without apologizing for them. You stop ranking yourself against strangers. You stop treating another person's attraction as a score. You stop treating romantic attention as a public vote on your value. You begin seeing yourself as a person rather than a product. That may sound obvious. It is not always how people live. When you have been trained by approval, you begin presenting yourself constantly. You enter a room and immediately wonder how you are being read. You share an opinion and watch faces for signs of acceptance. You dress and imagine evaluation. You speak and edit yourself in real time. You meet someone you like and become less curious about them because you are so busy wondering whether they like you. That last shift is especially important. When you are trying to be chosen, you are not fully meeting the other person. Part of you is standing outside yourself, monitoring the performance. Did I say the right thing? Was I interesting? Was I warm enough? Did I reveal too much? Did I reveal too little? The encounter becomes an audition, and auditions are exhausting places to live. A different kind of presence begins when you remember that you are also there to experience. You are allowed to be curious. You are allowed to decide. You are allowed to feel whether something fits. You are allowed to learn who another person is without immediately building a future around the possibility. You are allowed to let attraction be attraction before turning it into destiny. You are allowed to enjoy a beginning without trying to force an ending. You are allowed to move at the speed of reality. This is a quieter way to live. It gives your nervous system fewer emergencies to manage. It lets information arrive before conclusions do. It lets affection grow where it can grow. It lets disappointment become information instead of catastrophe. It gives you back proportion. Not every missed call means abandonment. Not every spark means lifelong compatibility. Not every difficult conversation means something is doomed. Not every strong feeling means you should ignore your own limits. You begin to meet each thing as itself. That is a form of freedom. And underneath this freedom is a very simple repair. You stop assuming you are the defective part of every painful equation. Sometimes you made mistakes. You can admit them. Sometimes you were unfair. You can repair that. Sometimes you were reactive. You can learn from it. Sometimes your fear affected how you communicated. You can grow. Taking responsibility is healthy. Making yourself the explanation for everything is not. You can own your part without claiming the entire story. Another person's silence has their history in it. Their fear has their history in it. Their indecision has their history in it. Their inability to offer what you want has their history in it. Your presence may interact with those things, but you did not create every wound you encounter. You do not have to become the solution to all of them. This recognition can return years of emotional labor to its proper owner. You may have spent too long trying to become the reason someone changed, trying to be patient enough to make them open, trying to be trustworthy enough to make them stop running, trying to be calm enough to make them feel safe, trying to be desirable enough to make them commit, trying to be understanding enough to make them become consistent. You can offer a healthy environment. You cannot do someone else's inner work. You can invite honesty. You cannot manufacture it. You can be dependable. You cannot make someone ready to depend on another human being. You can communicate clearly. You cannot force clarity from a person committed to avoiding it. This is not hopeless. It is liberating. It tells you where your power actually is. Your power is in what you choose, what you continue, what you name, what you decline, what you leave alone, what you stop explaining, what you stop interpreting, what you stop carrying. And with each of these choices, the old belief receives new information. You are not asking it to disappear through positive thinking alone. You are showing yourself evidence. You say no, and life continues. You express a need, and you survive the response. You stop pursuing, and you discover that your identity remains. You let a connection end, and grief moves through you without ending you. You disappoint someone, and you learn that another person's disappointment is not always proof of wrongdoing. You are misunderstood, and you discover you can remain intact. You stop volunteering for confusion, and space appears. These experiences teach more deeply than slogans. They tell your whole system, I can remain with myself. That is the foundation. Not constant confidence, not perfect certainty, remaining with yourself. There will still be evenings when old fear appears. There may still be moments when you want to reach back into a situation that has already shown its limits. There may still be days when your mind searches for proof that you mattered. You do not need to panic about those moments. An old belief can visit without moving back in. You can hear it. You can recognize its tone. You can say, I know where this came from. You can let it pass through without reorganizing your life around it. This is how the old sentence retires. Not because it is attacked, because it is no longer consulted for every decision. Its chair remains empty more often. Its advice goes unanswered. Its warnings stop being treated as commands. Your life begins to reflect a different inner agreement. You do not have to force people to treat you differently in order for this agreement to matter. Some people will respond beautifully. Some will not understand. Some will prefer the old version of the arrangement. Some may test whether your new clarity is temporary. Some may continue exactly as they always have. You do not need universal cooperation. You need consistency with yourself. That is the pay you can keep. And once that becomes clearer, you begin to understand something about distance, timing, and what is truly yours to deliver. Imagine a small glass bottle resting in someone's hand at the edge of an immense ocean. Inside it is a folded message. The paper carries words meant to be read. The cork is pressed firmly into the neck. The glass catches the last light. Then the bottle is placed into moving water. Nothing about the act can command where it lands. The person standing at that first shore cannot walk beside it across 10,000 miles. They cannot push it through every current. They cannot steer it around every change in weather. They cannot stand over the ocean and demand a timetable. The message has been written. The bottle has been sealed. The release has happened. From there, movement belongs to conditions larger than the hand that let it go. This image contains a truth that the anxious part of you has rarely trusted. Not everything requires continual handling. Some things reveal their direction only after your grip is gone. A bottle held forever at the first shore never travels. A message rewritten every few moments never leaves. A cork pulled out again and again to check whether the words are good enough eventually lets water in. There is a point where care has done its part. You have written honestly. You have prepared what is yours. You have placed it into motion. Then your task changes. You stop standing in the same place trying to control a journey you cannot personally make. For someone trained to overfunction, this can be difficult. You want to follow, you want updates, you want certainty. You want to know whether the current is moving in the direction you hoped. You want to know whether the glass is safe. You want to know whether the message is still dry. You want to know whether it will reach any shore at all. But the image asks you to consider another way of relating to what you cannot control. You can care without gripping. You can send without chasing after what you sent. You can speak truth without supervising how it is received. You can show interest without trying to manage another person's response. You can offer yourself honestly without forcing a destination. The ocean does not need your anxiety to keep moving. The message does not become more meaningful because you worry over it from afar. And your life does not become more secure because you spend every hour imagining where something might land. There is dignity in completing your part. This is not passivity. The message had to be written. The bottle had to be prepared. The shore had to be reached. The hand had to release. Action still mattered. What disappeared was the fantasy that action could control everything afterward. This distinction changes the way you approach closeness. You can say, "I care about you." Then you let the other person decide what they do with that truth. You can say, "This matters to me." Then you listen. You can say, "This does not work for me." Then you watch whether behavior changes. You can say, "I would like to build something mutual." Then you make room for the other person to build too. You do not keep rewriting the message because you dislike the waiting. You do not run along the coastline trying to place yourself in front of every possible current. You do not throw 100 bottles because one honest one has not returned immediate proof. There is a maturity in letting communication complete itself. You speak, you listen, you respond to what is real. That is very different from trying to control an answer. And consider the bottle itself. It does not become more valuable because it travels farther. It does not become less valuable if one shore does not receive it. The message remains what it was when it was written. Its meaning is not created by the beach on which it lands. This is one of the deeper lessons hidden in the image. Your value is not created by reception. Being received well can feel beautiful. Being recognized matters. Being understood can feel like a blessing. But recognition reveals. It does not manufacture. Another person can appreciate what is already there. They cannot create your humanity by appreciating it. Another person can overlook what is there. Their failure to see does not erase it. A bottle can pass one shore unnoticed. That does not mean there was nothing inside. It can move beyond one stretch of coast. That does not mean it was empty. It can spend a long time traveling unseen. That does not mean the message ceased to exist. You have often mistaken visibility for existence. If someone praises you, you feel more real. If someone desires you, you feel more beautiful. If someone reaches for you, you feel more significant. If someone goes quiet, the old fear says you have vanished from importance. But you did not vanish. You were still here before the message. You were still here during the waiting. You remain here after the answer. The deeper repair is learning to stay connected to that continuity. This is where the concept becomes personal. Perhaps you have spent years behaving like a message that must keep changing itself for every possible shore. You changed tone, changed shape, changed expectations, changed what you asked for, changed how quickly you replied, changed how much emotion you showed, changed your schedule, changed your standards of what felt acceptable, changed what you called enough, all in the hope of increasing the chance that someone would receive you. But a message altered for every imagined reader eventually loses the voice of the person who wrote it. There is another way. You can become clearer, not more rigid, clearer. You can know what you mean. You can know what kind of closeness you want. You can. And know what behavior supports trust for you. You can know what you are willing to offer. You can know what you are no longer willing to trade away. Then you let life reveal where that clarity can be met. This does not mean waiting for a perfect person. Human beings are imperfect. Healthy relationships still require conversation. There are misunderstandings. There are difficult days. There are missed signals. There are fears. There are repairs. The difference is that both people are participating. Both are willing to hear. Both are willing to adjust. Both are willing to tell the truth. Both are willing to care about impact. A healthy connection does not require perfection. It requires presence. When you know this, your standards become less theatrical. They stop being rules written to punish anyone. They become filters for participation. Can honesty live here? Can respect live here? Can repair live here? Can I remain myself here? Can the other person remain themselves too? Can two people move toward each other without one carrying the entire distance? Those questions are enough. You do not need 100 tests. You do not need to create scarcity. You do not need to become unreachable. You do not need to pretend your heart is smaller than it is. You need to stop throwing your heart into places where it must beg to be handled carefully. The bottle teaches release, but it also teaches integrity. The message is protected because it is enclosed properly. It is not scattered loose on the surface. It has form. It has a boundary. The glass does not apologize for having edges. The cork does not feel guilty for keeping the water out. Protection does not insult the ocean. It makes the journey possible. Your boundaries can be understood in the same way. They are not accusations. They are not declarations that everyone else is dangerous. They are the form that helps you remain whole while moving through uncertain conditions. A boundary can be simple. I need honesty. I need respect. I will not continue conversations that become degrading. I will not remain where fear for my physical or emotional safety is normalized. I will not repeatedly cancel myself to keep someone close. I will not make another person responsible for my entire inner life. I will not accept responsibility for theirs. These are not punishments. They are forms of protection. A person who cares for you may not agree with every boundary. They may need discussion. They may have boundaries of their own. That is part of real relationship. Two complete people learning how to meet. Not one person becoming shapeless so the other never feels discomfort. The old belief may tell you that edges make you difficult. The bottle tells a different story. Without form, the message would not travel intact. Without form, ever, the thing would dissolve into the water around it. You are allowed to have form, preferences, limits, needs, a voice, a pace, a life that continues beyond any one connection. This does not make you closed. It makes you available without being formless. And somewhere inside that recognition, the oldest sentence begins to sound less convincing. You were never required to dissolve in order to be carried. You were never required to erase yourself in order to be met. You were never required to become whatever each passing shore preferred. Your task is not to guarantee arrival. Your task is to become honest enough that what you send is truly yours. Then you can let timing, choice, circumstance, and other human beings do what belongs to them. You can remain on your own shore without feeling abandoned by the journey. You can continue living. You can sleep. You can wake. You can move through your days. You can trust that not every meaningful thing has to be supervised every moment. And whether a particular message is received in the way you hoped or not, you can remain faithful to the person who wrote it. That is the new ground beneath you now. You do not have to make yourself harder to reach in order to become clearer about what reaches you. The deeper change is quieter than that. You begin to understand that self-respect is not a performance. It is not a pose. It is not a technique for creating distance so another person suddenly moves closer. It is the way you remain with yourself while another human being remains free. That freedom matters. Without it, affection becomes negotiation. Without it, every silence becomes a test. Without it, every boundary becomes a tactic. Without it, personal growth turns into another attempt to control an outcome. You are leaving that behind. You are not setting limits so someone will react. You are setting them because your own truth deserves a clear form. You are not speaking honestly so someone will finally understand your value. You are speaking honestly because hiding yourself has become too expensive. You are not becoming steadier to attract a particular person. You are becoming steadier because you want to live from a place that does not collapse whenever someone else becomes uncertain. This is the difference between self-respect and strategy. Strategy keeps looking outward. Did it work? Did they respond? Did they come closer? Did they change? Self-respect looks inward first. Was I honest? Did I stay connected to myself? Did I say what I meant? Did I honor what I knew? Did I act in a way I can trust tomorrow? Those questions bring you back to your own life. They make your choices less dependent on immediate reward. Sometimes speaking clearly will deepen a connection. Sometimes it will expose a difference that was already there. Sometimes a boundary will be respected. Sometimes another person will resist it. Sometimes expressing what you want will bring relief. Sometimes it will bring an answer you did not hope for. Your dignity cannot depend on which of those outcomes occurs. It lives in the fact that you did not erase yourself to improve the odds. This is where the message in the bottle becomes more than an image of release. It becomes an image of truthful transmission. The message does not need decoration. It does not believe. It does not need sentences written only to please whoever might find it. It does not need to promise what the writer cannot give. It does not need to hide what matters because honesty might narrow the number of people who understand it. The message becomes stronger when it is true. and you become steadier when your words begin matching your inner knowing. There may have been years when your message changed depending on who stood in front of you. With one person, you acted as if commitment did not matter. With another, you pretended you did not care about consistency. With another, you lowered what you wanted because you feared being called difficult. With another, you kept your disappointment hidden because you did not want to create tension. You may even have convinced yourself that this flexibility was kindness. Some flexibility is kindness. Relationships need compromise. People have different habits, histories, and needs. But compromise asks two people to move. Self-erasure asks one person to disappear. You are learning the difference. You can adapt without betraying yourself. You can listen without automatically surrendering your position. You can care about another person's needs without treating yours as the inconvenience in the room. You can change your mind without being pressured into abandoning it. You can meet someone halfway without walking the entire distance alone. These distinctions may sound small. They shape whole lives. They shape who gets repeated access. They shape what becomes normal. They shape whether you trust your own voice. They shape whether closeness feels like companionship or constant self-monitoring. This is why your new inner lesson cannot live only in thought. It must become visible in behavior. You begin with simple things. You answer when you want to answer, rather than timing every response for effect. You say no when your no is true. You stop saying whatever you want when you actually have a preference. You ask for clarification when something important is vague. You stop turning disappointment into silent resentment. You do not agree to arrangements that repeatedly leave you unsettled merely because the alternative is temporary loneliness. You do not make grand threats. You do not issue punishments. You become clear. Clarity does not need a raised voice. It can sound like, "That doesn't work for me." It can sound like, "I'd rather know where we stand." It can sound like, "I care about this, and consistency matters to me." It can sound like, "I'm not comfortable continuing in this pattern." It can sound like, "I need some time to decide what is right for me." It can also sound like silence after you have already said what needed to be said. Not punitive silence, completed communication. There is a great difference. When you have explained yourself clearly, repeating the same truth 20 different ways rarely makes it more understandable. Sometimes repetition is not communication anymore. It is fear asking for a different answer. You are learning when your message has been sent. That is a powerful skill. The hand releases the bottle. The ocean takes over what belongs to the ocean. The reader, if there is one, remains free to read. The writer remains free to continue living. You can do the same. Say what is yours. Do what is yours. Then stop entering the territory of another person's choice. You may feel resistance here. An old part of you may say that releasing control is dangerous. It may remember occasions when uncertainty led to pain. It may believe constant attention is protection. It may insist that if you stop managing the connection may disappear. That fear does not need ridicule. It needs a new experience. It needs to discover that your life remains intact even when you do not manage every outcome. It needs to learn that uncertainty can be uncomfortable without becoming an emergency. It needs to learn that another person's freedom is not automatically a threat to you. It needs to learn that truth can survive being answered honestly. And if the larger shift feels difficult, you do not need to force a grand declaration. You can begin with a smaller willingness. I am willing to stop rewriting myself for approval. That is enough for this moment. You do not have to feel fearless. You only need to become a little less willing to abandon yourself because fear has arrived. Now let the core truth settle in a form you can return to. I send truth. Clear boundaries carry it. Do not rush past the sentence. It does not mean every truth will be welcomed. It does not mean every person will understand. It does not mean every message reaches the place you hoped. It means you can send what is honest without dissolving around the response. Your limits help carry the truth intact. They keep your words connected to your actions. They stop you from saying one thing and living another. They protect the integrity of what you mean. If you tell someone that disrespect is not acceptable, your boundary is what gives those words substance. If you say you want mutual effort, your choices after repeated one-sidedness are part of the message. If you say your time matters, the way you use your time gives the statement form. If you say you want clarity, remaining indefinitely inside deliberate ambiguity teaches the opposite lesson. Your behavior is always speaking beside your words. You do not need perfection. You need growing consistency. There will be moments when you bend, moments when you answer from fear, moments when you stay longer than you planned, moments when you explain again, moments when an old habit feels stronger than the new one. That does not cancel the work. You return, you correct, you choose again. No self-punishment, no dramatic conclusion that you have failed. A new pattern becomes trustworthy through repetition, not through one flawless evening. Return to the sentence again, with less effort this time. I send truth. Clear boundaries carry it. Perhaps the words meet resistance. Perhaps part of you hears boundaries and imagines rejection. You may have known people who responded poorly whenever you had needs. You may have been called too sensitive when you spoke about hurt. You may have been told that asking for consistency was pressure. You may have learned that a boundary created conflict rather than respect. Those experiences matter. They can make healthy limits feel dangerous long after the original situation has ended. This is why boundaries must first become safe inside you. You need to stop treating your own no as an act of cruelty. You need to stop believing another person's discomfort automatically proves you have done something wrong. You need to stop assuming kindness means making every interaction easy for everyone except yourself. A respectful boundary leaves room for dialogue. It does not humiliate. It does not threaten. It does not try to control someone else's body, friendships, choices, or inner world. It tells the truth about what you will do with your own participation. That is where your power lives. You cannot say, "You must become who I need." You can say, "I cannot keep participating in this version of the relationship." You cannot command someone to communicate the way you prefer. You can decide whether a chronic lack of communication works for you. You cannot force honesty. You can decide what access repeated dishonesty receives. You cannot demand readiness. You can stop waiting indefinitely for readiness that is not present. This protects both people from a false kind of closeness. The other person does not have to become someone they are not. You do not have to pretend you are satisfied with what you are not. Truth becomes cleaner. Choice becomes cleaner. If two people can meet, they meet more honestly. If they cannot, the difference is no longer hidden beneath endless accommodation. That may hurt. Pain is not always evidence that a boundary was wrong. Sometimes pain is simply what truth feels like when fantasy can no longer carry the relationship. You can grieve and still remain clear. You can miss someone and still know that returning to the same arrangement would cost too much. You can feel affection and still choose distance. You can wish a different ending had been possible. You can still respect the ending that reality requires. This is emotional strength without bitterness. It does not need to vilify anyone. It does not need revenge. It does not need someone to regret losing you. The goal is not to become unforgettable. The goal is to become someone you no longer betray in order to be remembered. There is great peace in that. You stop imagining future scenes where someone finally understands what they lost. You stop rehearsing conversations in which you are vindicated. You stop building your healing around an audience that may never see it. You heal because your own life is here. That is reason enough. You become more careful with access because your time is here. You become more careful with your words because your truth is here. You become more careful with your commitments because your future is here. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship of your own life, and it changes the way you receive. Receiving is often misunderstood. People imagine it as doing nothing while something desirable arrives. Real receiving requires discernment. You must be able to recognize what is actually being offered. Not what you hope is being offered. Not what you could build from potential. Not what someone may someday become capable of offering. What is here? What is consistent? What is freely given? What comes with respect? What asks for your participation without asking for your disappearance? When you were driven by the old belief, you may have called almost anything a gift because you feared there would be nothing else. A little attention felt enormous. A late-night message felt like proof. A temporary return felt like destiny. A brief apology felt like complete repair. A promise felt like change before behavior had caught up. Now your discernment becomes steadier. You can appreciate a gesture without assigning it more meaning than it carries. You can accept affection without immediately building your whole future around it. You can enjoy closeness without surrendering your judgment. You can remain open and observant at the same time. That is mature receiving. It is not suspicious. It is awake. You are not standing with your arms crossed against life. You are keeping your eyes open while your heart remains available. There is a particular confidence that grows from this. You do not need to grab. You do not need to rush. You do not need to decide everything at once. You can let patterns show themselves. A trustworthy connection can tolerate time. It can tolerate honest questions. It can tolerate two separate people. It can tolerate boundaries. It can tolerate a no. It can tolerate disagreement. It can tolerate ordinary life. You do not need constant intensity to know something matters. Steadiness speaks differently. It returns. It follows through. It listens. It repairs. It does not make you earn basic consideration over and over, and you do not need to be flawless to participate in it. You are permitted to have difficult days. You are permitted to need reassurance sometimes. You are permitted to misunderstand. You are permitted to feel insecure. You are permitted to ask for help. Self-respect is not emotional perfection. It is staying honest about what is happening without turning your human needs into shame. This matters in the love niche especially. Affirming your value can support a healthier relationship with yourself. These words are not a substitute for safety. If a connection harms your body, threatens you, isolates you, controls you, frightens you, or repeatedly damages your spirit, real support matters. Trusted people matter. Professional help can matter. Practical safety can matter. No affirmation should be used to talk you into remaining where you are unsafe. You do not need to spiritually reinterpret harm into something acceptable. Care begins with truth. Your inner work can support you while you seek real help. Both can exist together. This also means no set of words can promise a specific person. You are not being prepared to control someone else's future. You are becoming more ready to meet what is mutual, respectful, and real. That outcome remains open. The person remains open. Timing remains open. Your self-respect does not. That belongs with you. Read the core sentence once more, not as a command to life, but as a commitment to your own integrity. I send truth. Clear boundaries carry it. 3 times is enough. Now let the words become behavior. You speak more plainly. You stop hinting when directness is kinder. You stop saying yes while hoping someone will guess that you mean no. You stop volunteering for arrangements that make you feel hidden. You let people have their response. You let yourself have yours. You do not treat disagreement as abandonment. You do not treat chemistry as permission to ignore your judgment. You do not treat longing as proof that a situation should continue. You begin measuring a connection by more than intensity. Is there respect? Is there care? Is there consistency? Is there freedom? Can truth survive here? Can both people remain whole? Those questions protect you from confusing strong emotion with strong foundation. And if you want to keep returning to this steadier way of relating, you can subscribe and stay close to the reminders that bring you back to yourself. Not because you need another voice to become your authority, because repetition can help new choices feel familiar. Then you return to your own judgment, your own truth, your own life. You begin to see that you have been teaching G through every repeated choice, not commanding the world, teaching what you will continue participating in. If you abandon a boundary every time someone dislikes it, the lesson becomes unclear. If you honor it calmly, the lesson becomes clearer. If you say that respect matters and then excuse repeated contempt, your actions contradict you. If you step away from contempt, your life becomes more coherent. People may or may not change. That is not the measure. You change what you make normal around you. This can affect relationships. It can affect friendships. It can affect family dynamics. It can affect work. It can affect the way you speak to yourself when nobody else is present. That last part may be the most important. You cannot ask the outside world to treat you with care while constantly humiliating yourself inside. You cannot build a new lesson while repeating the old insult in private. When you make a mistake, you do not need to call yourself foolish. When you feel lonely, you do not need to call yourself unwanted. When someone leaves, you do not need to call yourself unlovable. When you struggle, you do not need to declare yourself behind. You can correct yourself without cruelty. You can learn without contempt. You can grieve without becoming your own enemy. You can be disappointed and remain on your own side. That is part of the new lesson too. You teach yourself how you are to be treated. You become the first person who stops using your tenderness as a reason to speak harshly to you. You become the first person who stops abandoning you during uncertainty. You become the first person who listens when something feels wrong. You become the first person who does not require perfection. before offering compassion. Then your standards outside begin to feel less like rules and more like continuity. You are not asking anyone to give you something you refuse to practice within. You are becoming aligned with the kind of treatment you hope to share. Clear, respectful, honest, warm, free. The bottle remains intact because its form and its purpose agree. Your life becomes steadier for the same reason. What you say matters begins to match what you protect. What you want begins to match what you choose. What you no longer accept begins to match what you actually stop participating in. There may still be distance. There may still be unanswered questions. There may still be people who cannot meet you. But you no longer turn every distance into a reason to rewrite the message. You let truth travel as truth. You let others be responsible for what they do with it. You remain responsible for how faithfully you carry yourself. That is a new kind of peace, not the peace of controlling the shore, the peace of knowing what you sent was real. You have done enough explaining for one night, enough measuring, enough wondering There you said too much or too little. Enough standing at the edge of your own life, asking what someone else's silence means. The message has been written. The glass is sealed. The current is moving. Your task now is not to follow it. Your task is to remain where your feet are, to feel the ground beneath you, to remember that a message does not become truer because the sender stares at the horizon. What is sincere remains sincere. What is clear remains clear. What is yours remains yours. You have spent many hours trying to travel after things that had already left your hands. You replayed conversations. You imagined different endings. You searched old messages for clues. You tried to find the exact moment where everything changed. You wondered whether a different answer from you would have produced a different life. You tried to understand currents no human hand could command. That effort came from care. It also came from fear. Tonight, you do not have to solve the whole distance. 10,000 miles of water do not become shorter because you stay awake. The shore does not move closer because you worry. The current does not become kinder because you monitor it. The message does not become safer because you keep imagining every wave. You may rest while what is not yours remains outside your control. This is not giving up. It is releasing an impossible job. You were never meant to supervise every outcome. You were never meant to guarantee how another person understands you. You were never meant to carry every relationship through both people's hands. You were never meant to keep every door open with your own body. Your life is allowed to have doors that close. Your life is allowed to have unanswered things. Your life is allowed to contain people you cared for who did not become permanent. Your life is allowed to contain seasons that taught you without staying. You do not need to call every ending a failure. Some endings reveal your standards more clearly than beginnings ever could. Some departures show you what you were holding together alone. Some distances expose how much effort had been hidden inside your hope. Some quiet stretches return your attention to where it belongs. Back to your breath. Back to your room. Back to your body. Back to the life that is still here. You may have thought that peace would come when somebody finally gave you the answer you wanted. Sometimes peace comes another way. It comes when the answer is no longer required for you to remain whole. It comes when you stop asking one person to explain your value. It comes when uncertainty is no longer treated like a fire. It comes when you realize you can survive not knowing. You can survive being misunderstood. You can survive not being selected. You can survive a door staying closed. You can survive missing someone. You can survive changing your mind. You can survive saying no. You can survive another person saying no. And surviving is only the beginning. Beyond survival, there is room. There is room for mornings that are not built around a phone. There is room for laughter that is not interrupted by checking. There is room for friendships that have waited patiently for your attention to return. There is room for projects you kept postponing. There is room for music, for ordinary meals, for long sleep, for unclenched shoulders, for plans that belong to you, for a future that does not require anyone's permission to begin. You do not need to fill that room tonight. You only need to recognize that it exists. An old pattern can make emptiness feel dangerous. New space may feel strange before it feels peaceful. That is all right. You do not need to rush to replace what left. You do not need another person to prove the lesson worked. You do not need immediate evidence. You can let the space remain open. You can let yourself become familiar with your own company again. There is dignity in not reaching for the first available answer, just because silence feels unfamiliar. There is dignity in waiting until something feels mutual. There is dignity in not forcing a connection to become what it is not. There is dignity in letting another human being be honest, even when their honesty disappoints you. There is dignity in being honest too. The bottle travels because it was released. You also move forward when you stop standing in one place asking the past to change direction. You are not abandoning your history. You are ceasing to live inside it. You can carry what it taught you without carrying every pain it created. You can remember without returning. You can understand without reopening. You can forgive without repeating. You can care without pursuing. You can bless what was and choose what is. This is where your inner posture changes. You become less available for confusion, more available for truth, less interested in being impressive, more interested in being honest, less concerned with whether everyone approves, more concerned with whether you recognize yourself in your own decisions. And when you recognize yourself, a new kind of attraction begins inside your life. Not attraction as a promise, not attraction as a guarantee. Attraction as coherence. You are more likely to remain where your values are met because you can finally feel the difference. You are more likely to step away from what repeatedly empties you because you no longer confuse suffering with devotion. You are more likely to hear inconsistency clearly because you are no longer translating every contradiction into hope. You are more likely to welcome care because you are no longer suspicious of calm. You are more likely to trust mutual effort because you are no longer doing all the work before the other person can show you who they are. Your choices begin to match your inner truth. That is enough. The rest remains open. Now let these lines come through without pressure. You do not need to believe everyone perfectly. Let them pass through. Let some land. Let some wait. Let some become familiar. Later, I remain with myself. I trust clear actions. I honor my voice. I keep my center. I choose mutual effort. I respect my time. I welcome honesty. I speak plainly. I listen inward. I keep my word. I stop over-proving. I release old auditions. I stay present. I choose what fits. I can say no. I can say yes. I let truth stand. I let others choose. I keep my dignity. I protect my peace. I welcome steady care. I trust what repeats. I leave room. I stop forcing. I stay honest. I choose myself. I remain open. I keep perspective. I trust consistency. I honor my needs. I respect my limits. I keep my life. I welcome mutuality. I do not beg. I do not perform. I stay clear. I stay rooted. I stay kind. I stay whole. I remain true. I choose calm. I welcome respect. I keep faith. I stand here. I stay here. I am here. Still here. Fully here. At home. At peace. Now quieter. Now softer. Now less to carry. You do not have to memorize anything. You do not have to repeat anything perfectly. The point is not performance. The point is familiarity. A different inner language can become familiar. A language where you do not speak to yourself as though you are always about to be abandoned. A language where another person's mood does not become a command. A language where your needs can exist without apology. A language where rest does not require every problem to be solved first. Let that language become simple now. The night does not need an explanation. Your body does not need another argument. The pillow does not need proof. The room asks nothing from you. You can stop managing. Let the forehead loosen. Release the tiny effort behind the eyes. Let the jaw rest. Let the tongue soften. Let the neck stop holding the day upright. Let the shoulders lower. Let the hands become quiet. Let the fingers uncurl. Let the chest move without instruction. Let the belly loosen. Let the hips become heavy. Let the legs rest. Let the feet stop carrying you anywhere. Nothing needs to be pursued from this bed. Nothing needs to be clarified right now. Nothing needs to be won tonight. Nothing needs to be corrected before sleep. The message is already in motion. The shore can wait. The current can move without your supervision. You do not need to stand watch. You do not need to predict the landing. You do not need to imagine who will find what you have sent. You do not need to make the water obey. You are here. This is your room. This is your breath. This is your night. The day can move farther away now. One conversation can move farther away. One face can move farther away. One worry can move farther away. One unanswered thing can move farther away. Not erased, just farther, far enough for rest. You do not have to settle everything before you settle into sleep. You do not have to know who stays before you rest. You do not have to know what comes next. You do not have to know what someone is thinking. You do not have to know whether a relationship will change. You do not have to know whether a door will reopen. You do not have to know whether a new door is coming. Tonight is not asking for a forecast. It is asking for release. Release the need to predict. Release the need to interpret. Release the need to rehearse. Release the need to compare. Release the need to convince. Release the need to check. Release the need to improve yourself for someone else. Release the need to seem unaffected. Release the need to seem perfect. Release the need to stay available. Release the need to be understood by everyone. Release the need to carry both sides. Release the need to keep old doors warm. Release the need to translate silence. Release the need to repair what someone else will not help repair. Release the need to keep asking what you already know. Release the need to turn disappointment into self-criticism. Release the need to make every ending mean something about you. Release the need to find your value in another person's eyes. Let each ease become smaller. No forcing, no proving, no bargaining, no performance, no pursuit, no defense, no argument, no rehearsal, no checking, no holding. Less effort, less noise, less weight. Rest now. Your old pattern may still speak. It can speak while you rest. You do not have to answer. A thought can appear. Let it pass. A memory can appear. Let it pass. A name can appear. Let it pass. An old hope can appear. Let it pass. A fear can appear. Let it pass. Nothing has to be chased out of the mind. Nothing has to be defeated. You can stop wrestling with thoughts. They can move like distant water, some closer, some farther, then quieter. You remain on the shore. The shore does not run after every wave. It lets each one arrive. It lets each one leave. This is not another metaphor to master. It is the same field you have already entered. One ocean, one bottle, one message, one shore, one lesson. Release does not erase meaning. It stops demanding control. You can care and sleep. You can miss someone and sleep. You can be uncertain and sleep. You can be between chapters and sleep. You can be healing an old belief and sleep. You can be learning new limits and sleep. You can have unanswered questions and still let your body rest. Your body has carried enough alertness. It has listened for messages. It has watched screens. It has tightened around changes in tone. It has prepared for disappointment. It has tried to protect you. You can thank that effort without keeping it active all night. The guard can sit down. The eyes can close. The shoulders can drop. The chest can soften. The bed can hold what you do not need to hold. The night can be ordinary. Nothing mystical is required. No special sign, no perfect feeling, no sudden certainty. Rest is enough. You may wake tomorrow with some of the same questions. That is all right. You may wake with more clarity. You may not. You do not need tomorrow's answer tonight. This night is for not carrying tomorrow early. There is something kind in giving the future back to itself. Tomorrow can hold tomorrow. Other people can hold their decisions. The past can hold what has already happened. You can hold only this moment, and even this moment does not need a tight grip. Let it come. Let it go. Let your breathing become quieter. Let your thoughts become less important. Let the room become less defined around you. Let the edges soften. The bottle has gone beyond sight. There is no reason to stand at the waterline anymore. You can walk back toward yourself, back toward warmth, back toward rest, back toward the life that does not disappear when someone else moves away. You are not empty because another person is absent. You are not unfinished because an answer has not arrived. You are not behind because something took longer than you hoped. You are not less because a particular shore did not receive you. You remain. Your truth remains. Your dignity remains. Your capacity for closeness remains. Your ability to choose again remains. Your life remains. And tonight, remaining is enough. No search, no performance, no persuasion, just rest. The current moves, the shore waits, you sleep. There is nothing left for you to prove to the night. What needed to be said has been said. What needed to be seen has been seen. The old lesson has been named. The pressure has been exposed. The habit of reaching beyond yourself has been brought back into view. And now the work becomes quieter, not because everything is solved, because you no longer need to solve everything before you rest. There was a time when uncertainty could keep your whole inner world standing at attention. One unanswered message could pull you out of yourself. One change in tone could become an entire story. One moment of distance could make you search for some flaw inside you. Tonight, that old reflex does not have to run the room. It may still knock. It may still speak. It may still offer its familiar explanations. You can hear it without following it. You can feel its urgency without becoming urgent. You can remember the pattern without becoming the pattern. This is a quieter strength than the kind that performs confidence. It is the strength of staying with yourself, staying inside reality, staying close to what you know, staying where your dignity does not have to be traded for temporary reassurance. You have already learned that a message can be sincere without being controlled. It can be sent without being chased across the water. It can be meaningful before anyone opens it. It can remain true whether it is welcomed, misunderstood, delayed, or carried somewhere unexpected. Your own truth is like that. It does not need a perfect response to become valid. It does not need another person's approval to become real. It does not need to be rewritten every time someone hesitates. There is relief in understanding this. You can stop adjusting the message after it has already left your hand. You can stop imagining that one more explanation will finally make someone capable of what they have not chosen. You can stop believing that being deeply understood by one particular person is the only way to feel understood. There are parts of you that can be met by friends, parts of you that can be met by family, parts of you that can be met through your work, parts that can be met in solitude, parts that can be met by people you have not encountered yet, parts that are yours to understand more deeply yourself. Your life is wider than one shore. That does not make any particular connection meaningless. It puts it into proportion. A person can matter without becoming your whole horizon. A relationship can be important without becoming the only place where you exist. A disappointment can hurt without becoming the definition of your future. An ending can be real without meaning that closeness itself is over for you. You are still capable of warmth. You are still capable of intimacy. You are still capable of trust. You are still capable of saying yes when yes is true. You are still capable of opening when the conditions support openness. What changes is the way you enter. You no longer enter as an applicant. You no longer enter asking whether you can become acceptable enough to remain. You enter as a whole person meeting another whole person. You bring your history, they bring theirs. You bring your needs, they bring theirs. You bring your limits, they bring theirs. You bring your freedom, they bring theirs. Then you see what can be built, not what can be forced, not what can be imagined, what can actually be built. This is a more adult kind of hope. It does not demand certainty before the first step. It does not hand away discernment because the feeling is strong. It lets warmth and wisdom sit beside one another. It lets attraction and observation coexist. It lets longing have a voice without giving longing the final vote. You can want someone and still ask whether the relationship is good for you. You can miss someone and still remember why you stepped away. You can feel a strong connection and still care about how your body feels after each encounter. You can remain open without becoming available for confusion. This is how a new lesson becomes lived rather than spoken. Your decisions begin to carry it. Your calendar carries it. Your sleep carries it. Your conversations carry it. Your silences carry it. The people you remain close to begin to reflect it. The places you leave begin to reflect it. The way you speak to yourself after disappointment begins to reflect it most of all. If someone does not choose you, you do not turn against yourself. If someone cannot meet you, you do not make yourself smaller. If someone changes direction, you do not call your whole future into question. You may hurt. You may grieve. You may need time. Still, you remain on your own side. This is the treatment you are learning first. No abandonment from within, no private cruelty, no internal trial where every painful outcome becomes proof that you failed. You can be accountable without becoming abusive toward yourself. You can admit where you ignored signs. You can admit where you stayed because hope was louder than truth. You can admit where fear shaped your choices. Then you can change those choices. That is enough. You do not need to make your past uglier in order to leave it behind. You do not need to call yourself foolish. You do not need to create a villain. You do not need a dramatic final judgment. You can say, I know more now, and live from what you know. The ocean is dark beyond the shore now. You cannot see how far the bottle has traveled. You cannot see what current holds it. You cannot see whether another coastline is near. That lack of sight is not a problem you need to fix tonight. You can let distance be distance. You can let timing remain timing. You can let other people carry their own decisions. You can let unanswered things remain unanswered until life answers them in its own way. This is where rest becomes an act of trust in yourself. Not trust that every outcome will match your wish. Trust that you can meet the outcome when it comes. Trust that you can listen. Trust that you can choose. Trust that you can leave what repeatedly harms you. Trust that you can welcome what is steady. Trust that you can ask for help when you need it. Trust that you can survive disappointment without deciding you are defective. Trust that your own life will still be waiting for you in the morning. That is enough trust for one night. You do not need grand certainty. You need a place to lay your head. A place to let the mind become less busy. A place where the next decision does not have to be made yet. Your bed can be that place. Let the last questions become quieter now. Not answered. Quieter. What if they never understand? Quieter. What if something ends? Quieter. What if I have to begin again? Quieter. What if what I wanted was never mine to keep? Quieter. You do not have to chase the answers into darkness. Morning has its own light. Tonight has another purpose. Rest. Let the shoulders become heavy again. Let the jaw release what it was holding. Let the hands stop preparing to reach. Let the eyes stop searching behind closed lids. Let the chest be supported. Let the belly be soft. Let the legs become still. You do not need to be attractive in sleep. You do not need to be impressive. You do not need to be useful. You do not need to be available. You do not need to be understood. You only need to rest. The person who is meant to share your life is not helped by you abandoning yourself beforehand. The relationships that are healthy for you do not require you to arrive emptied out from proving that you deserve them. Your future is better served by your wholeness than by your exhaustion. So let tonight return something to you. Return your attention, return your breath, return your time, return your inner room. Return the part of you that spent too long standing near someone else's decision. Bring that part home. There is room here, no interrogation, no shame, no demand to have learned everything already. Only a quieter agreement. You will listen sooner. You will speak more clearly. You will stop interpreting pain as proof that you need to try harder. You will stop confusing uncertainty with depth. You will stop shrinking a need just because someone cannot meet it. You will stop offering endless access where care is repeatedly absent. You will remember that kindness includes you. You will remember that freedom includes you. You will remember that choice includes you. You do not need to repeat those promises every morning. The truest promise is the one you begin living. Small choices, clear choices, unforced choices. You keep a plan instead of abandoning it for uncertain attention. You ask directly instead of testing. You listen to a pattern instead of clinging to one exception. You accept an honest no instead of trying to negotiate it into yes. You give a truthful no instead of offering a resentful yes. You let affection develop without making it responsible for your identity. You let closeness be mutual. You let distance speak when it speaks. You let your own life remain visible throughout. There is one more part of this new lesson that deserves to become quiet inside you. You do not have to treat every good beginning as something that must be secured. You can enjoy what is present while it is present. You can let another person earn deeper access through time. You can let trust grow from evidence. You can let consistency become visible without testing for it every day. You can let yourself be surprised by care instead of demanding proof before care has had time to form. This does not make you passive. It makes you available to reality. You stop rushing ahead of the relationship. You stop writing promises that have not been made. You stop grieving endings that have not happened. You stop planning around someone who has not yet shown whether they can share the plan. You stay close to T, he next honest step. That step may be conversation, it may be patience, it may be a boundary, it may be distance, it may be accepting a kind invitation. It may be declining something that no longer fits. You do not have to know the whole path to take one honest step. This is how uncertainty becomes less frightening. You do not solve 10,000 miles. You meet the small piece of shoreline beneath your feet. You make the decision that belongs to today. You leave tomorrow its own decision. And slowly, The old need to control the entire journey becomes less convincing. You discover that you can live without constant prediction. You can make plans without forcing outcomes. You can hope without turning hope into a demand. You can care without becoming consumed. You can trust yourself to respond when more information arrives. That trust belongs with you tonight. This is how the lesson changes. Not by demanding better treatment from every person you meet, by making self-betrayal less available as a price of admission. Your choices become clearer. The people around you remain free. And what fits has a better chance to fit honestly. What does not fit no longer has to be forced into shape. This gives love room to become what it can actually become. Not fantasy, not fear, not an endless test. A meeting, two lives, two voices, two sets of boundaries, two freedoms. And where there is no mutual meeting, you do not have to turn absence into a personal wound you reopen each night. You can release it. You can keep the lesson. You can keep yourself. The bottle is somewhere beyond sight. The message is no longer yours to supervise. The shore beneath you is enough. Feel how simple that can become. Your own shore, your own ground, your own life. Nothing to pursue, nothing to persuade, nothing to prove. You do not need another sign tonight. You do not need another answer. You do not need another promise. You have your own presence. Stay there. Stay with the person who has been waiting longest for you to stop leaving. Stay with yourself, not as an idea, as an action. When fear arrives, stay. When longing rises, stay. When a memory returns, stay. When someone disappoints you, stay. When someone delights you, stay. When someone chooses you, stay. When someone does not, stay. Do not abandon your own shore because another shore is uncertain. The night does not ask for more. Your breathing can become quieter. Your thoughts can spread farther apart. The old lesson can lose another little piece of its authority. There is nothing to chase into sleep. There is no one to convince from this bed. There is no version of you that must be perfected before morning. You are permitted to sleep before the story resolves. You are permitted to rest before the answer comes. You are permitted to let the current keep moving. The room is still here. The bed is still here. Your breath is still here. Your life is still here. You are still here. That is the ground. That is the lesson. That is the shore. I hold my shore and trust currents. You no longer chase. You attract. Sleep where your own shore knows you.